5 years is going to be, the 5 years before and the 5 years coming are totally different. So it might make some sense with someone with some credentials to look at the zoning code and say, okay, because you're supposed to update these just like you do your will. You go in, you look at it, you see what needs to be done. And if the zone changes, because they might come in and recommend systemic changes across the board that nobody foresaw 20 years ago. So.
I really like that idea because I think we need to tighten up our current restrictions because we don't want to come in and have some of the building that we've had. I really like that.
Okay, let's decide, do we want to wait and be patient since he gives us that information about the trailer park or not, so, you know, skeptic of getting it.
And I'll confirm that, but that was my reading, that's why I didn't jump at it and say, oh no, we've got to be careful about that.
Yeah, that's my concern was. So what would you guys prefer to do?
I think we need to get a list of what we would approve it to be zoned to. Have that list together, get it on the market. If somebody's interested, here's your list.
But
If you do this, then we can sell it to you. If you're gonna put a quarter-acre sewage plant in, maybe we don't want the zones for that.
When you look at the map that you just shared with me, 2/3 of the surrounding property is always highway. It's already highway commercial, and it's further back off the highway. One of the things we don't want to do is do spot zoning. So,
You can't do it.
when well, it just causes headaches down the road if you do that. I think we need to look at highway commercial and scrutinize it as a group, because that's the logical way to go, that all that property turns into highway commercial. Can we live with that? That seems like one of the questions that we need to answer real quickly. And that would be clean. Let's study highway commercial and maybe it offline, and we come back at our next meeting and say, yep, highway commercial's good, or no, highway commercial's bad, and then we can look at something that's special for
And
this.
can we, like you said, in the meantime, update our highway commercial, our local, I mean, I know they got the county, but can we tighten ours up a little bit?
I think I think Jennifer, you're talking about like the text itself. It says, here's what we what we kind of authorize within. This is a permitted use versus not. And really, it'd be good to find out when the last time the zoning code was updated, because there are uses that didn't exist 10 years ago.
We've been talking about that.
It was 13 years ago, the last comprehensive plan was done. And they're supposedly working on a new one, but I have seen nothing out of that effort on a new comprehensive plan.
It's crucial.
Yeah, and it is.
And it's something that's going to take a long time to get right. When you get it right, and then you've got it right.
But let's think of a difficult, let's say we do something special with this property, but now that blocks the other owners of highway commercial that's 2/3 of the way. Now we're in another conundrum that we've got to deal with, because we've hurt their opportunity to develop their property. You see what I'm saying? Because it won't have road access.
But there'll be zone changes. When that happens and those signs will go in the yard, that's when everybody starts coming.
Yeah.
With pitchforks.
It'll be a circus.
And it's government. I mean, when you have a comprehensive plan or something that says, look, we don't think it's right for agriculture anymore, we want to put neighborhood commercial in, then people come around and they can say no, and they change their mind if they don't agree with you. That's okay, because everyone will have due process. So you won't have to worry about doing something behind someone's back. You'll just tell them weeks in advance, hey, you got a problem with this last time.
So we can do,
The only request I would have is if we were to go commercial, that we do the main entrance and most traffic feeds off of Violet Road instead of having 25 as being, this is where traffic is coming to. We can't really afford any more traffic at that corner, but if we come off the cul-de-sac down between Fort Bank and Marathon, we would be less traffic headache at the corner.
I think you're right, Todd, but again, we'd be darn lucky if we found a developer that wanted to do all that.
They're gonna want to weigh in and weigh out.
Well, we have an access off of Violet Road also. So there would be 2 ways in and out, right off of Violet Road.
We do?
The one on Violet.
There's an
the one's on
easement
25.
that comes,
Oh, there's an easement with that property? I didn't know that.
You're looking at Forest Bank to the left.
there's a little black top.
I mean, I know that's there, but I didn't know if it has, I don't think it accesses our
That's an
property.
easement,
Easement.
it comes with the property.
I don't think so.
We'll have to-
We might have to look at that,
Yeah.
because I remember reading that, that easement went back to Mary and Worthington, if I'm not mistaken.
That's what I was told. I haven't
Right.
seen it on a map.
That would be good to know, because I didn't think, I thought it went back to the Worthingtons too.
That's the way,
Originally,
that's the way it reads on it. We'll pull that.
Have we ever had that survey done? That would have the, any easement if we've got one.
Does council recommend we get it surveyed?
Well, I'm sure buyers are gonna want it to be surveyed.
Right. That should have been done a long time ago, in my opinion, but yeah, we need to do that. So we can go ahead and maybe table this until further discussion later.
maybe get some, yeah, and estimates on the surveys, because they're all over the board, we're just kind of.
Could we get another estimate from another real estate agent besides?
He just gave us a cheap one, yeah. Well, once we get a survey and we would get serious about it, then, you know, we can do that.
In the meantime, could we get copies, highway commercial circulating? What's on the books now for us to study?
It should be in that zoning book that you all received when Becky came down here that day to do the
If
zoning.
it is, then
Next,
cool.
we will.
Yeah.
Update on the Airbnb. You want to present that to
Oh,
council?
hold on there, are we gonna get the house cleaned out?
I will call and see if we can't get a dumpster. Since Dwayne's already been here and gone, to see.
I saw an empty one out by the garage of the house, I'm like, yeah, they're gonna clean it out, and then it disappeared.
I think that would be a good idea.
Any further discussion on
At Paula's request, I took a look and staff had put together at least the outline or the basis of an ordinance addressing the, however you want to call it, the short-term rentals, peer-to-peer, VRBO, all the things we know by. And I got some input from some council persons and looked at the ones that we had the other day. I looked at a few others that I was curious about, and I think I emailed this to some, I don't know, I've got hard copies here if you guys want to have them in front of you. And I know Joe had a few thoughts also that I have. I don't know if anybody else has discussed it with them or not, about some thoughts, there might be some additions or changes to it. But I wanted to bring that tonight for everybody to at least take a look at.
After we pass that out, and before we get into the weeds, could I have a second and talk about some overarching thoughts about this? Mayor?
What'd you say?
Which one of these do you want? My wife and I do VRBOs pretty often. And first of all, personally, I want us to encourage the use of those things here in the city. But as I went back and looked through some of the rental agreements that I've participated in before, and they're pretty wide, and they're different states, different locations. They can be very simple or they can be very complicated. But one of the things that I think that we want to do is to put a little bit of teeth into our regulations because of our experience with our nuisance ordinance, okay? And let me give you some examples. And we've got two ways we can approach this. I think I heard in prior meetings we were considering using conditional use permits for each one of these things as they come along. And if that's the case, what I would like to encourage us to do is look at each owner's standard terms and conditions of contract, meaning their rental agreement with the people they rent to, and see what teeth are in it. Let me give you some examples of what that might be for consistency with our nuisance ordinance. Because I think we can't expect a renter that comes in here from Florida, even though they're go to the ARC, to know what the content is and the substance of our nuisance ordinance. So that burden should be upon the owner of the property that rents it out. So things like parking, two of these things are on Highway 25. Okay, does their rental agreement state that there's no parking on the street or on the grass? There'll be no number of vehicles beyond what's defined in the rental agreement. That means a maximum number of vehicles allowed has to be defined in the rental agreement. And why am I concerned about this? Personal experience, fraternity parties, sorority parties, wedding parties, two people rent it, they say there's going to be 2 cars, and all of a sudden,
in Dry Ridge already.
and all of a sudden there's 30 or 40, and it's on Highway 25. That's a big deal. So making sure that language is in the rental agreement is important, and we need to put that within our nuisance ordinance as well. What do you do with garbage? Garbage has to be placed in closed containers. There's no loose bags out there. Meaning, okay, it's rented once every 2 weeks or something like that, but for 10 days the garbage is out there for the critters to tear apart. How do they handle the garbage? Is that defined in their rental agreement? And I love one of the documents here. What are the quiet hours? Okay, this was a document. We should define what the quiet hours are. Meaning, after 10, I think in this document that told you it was after 11 o'clock, those type of things. Is there a fire pit? Are we going to allow renters to use a fire pit? I'm all in favor of homeowners having fire pits, but we want transients that may be having a party, and they don't have the prime of ownership of that VRBO to have open campfires in the city.
Could we just add that to our ordinance, or?
There's 2 ways. We can put it in the ordinance, or we can make sure that it's in their rental agreement. I kind of like to say, kind of need to do both.
Do you want to review everybody's rental agreement? Who would do that?
What I'm saying is, before we issue a conditional use permit, we as a city review their rental agreement, their standard boilerplate rental
So it would
agreement.
come to the council.
It would come to council, or I'd be happy if Megan or the mayor or somebody reviewed it for consistency.
But would that go to the Board of Adjustments, if they're the ones that have to grant the conditional use? That would be something that they would have to do, wouldn't it?
Yeah, what I'm saying is we could filter that in advance to smooth things out. We could help them with their thinking on the rental agreement. What do we do, what's the requirement, and this is my last example. What are the requirements for pets? Okay. Everybody takes their dog on vacation, but what happens when you get to a vacation home and you have your pet? Most dogs will bolt, right? They're gonna, hey, I'm in a new place, let me sniff and see around, and that's right on Highway 25 that could cause an accident for these 2. I think we need to put something in there that pets have to be unattended outside of the VRBO, be on a leash or be in a kennel, that type of thing, as opposed to just running loose. So those are just some random thoughts, but my thoughts are that we need to put some teeth into the rental agreements that the owners are going to be contracting out with their customers.
Could we do this, just add, I like what you said.
I do too.
Let's just add that to the ordinance, and then when somebody comes in for a permit, or what, hand them the ordinance.
Right, and the owners have to show some responsibility
Oh,
as
yeah.
far as who
Yeah,
they rent
and
to.
I'm cool with that if you guys want to do that.
I think,
Yeah.
And here's my thought also, they're not having issues so much because what we're receiving in this area is people that are going to the ARC and people that are here for different reasons other than a concert or partying or and that sort of thing. So I think that we're we're pretty safe on what is, you know, or who is coming into this area, but certainly tack on to that for the owners when they come in to get that permit.
In the short term, I agree. I don't know, what 5 years.
So I think, Joe, what you're saying is you want them to submit a copy of their standard contract as part of the permit or application
Yes, sir.
process.
Yes, sir, and we can review it whether it's.
Whoever the designated person is reviews that to
Yeah.
see that it covers the areas that, at a minimum, you want to assure it's covered.
They have to abide by our ordinance as well,
Yeah.
the city.
If you go, I mean, and I don't know who all has done this, like Joe, we've done it a bunch, just did it in Gulf Shores. And one of the first things you check in, you get a piece of paper with the do's and don'ts.
Yeah.
You know, don't do this, don't do that. We were at a condo thing with a pool across the street from the beach, and one of the things is, you know, don't hang anything on the railings, you know, which my kids had already done by the time I read it, of course. So, but and there was a few other things like that, just these are the house rules, and you're going to be held responsible for them.
So these would be just rules in addition to what they're.
That's what the customer's gonna see. They're not gonna, I don't think the customers are gonna study our ordinance. It would be good to be backed